What is up, everyone? Simanga Matthew Jabba here. I'm a personal trainer and an online coach. Today we're going to continue the Master the Basics series, and we're going to go over the cable lateral raise and the dumbbell lateral raise. Both obviously are lateral raises, but I tend to prefer the cable version because we can alter where the force is coming from in the stretch position. I'm going to tell you guys and show you guys what that looks like in a few seconds, but let's get to it. So when you start with the cable lateral raise, super simple. We'll just grab maybe smallish kind of dumbbells, nothing too huge, because again, this is one of those where you want to kind of finesse it. So you'll start with maybe your feet shoulder width, chest nice and high, and then you don't necessarily want your arms to go out by the sides of you. You almost want them to come in slightly right over there. You're going to come down slowly, 3, 2, 1. Deep breath, make sure your chest stays up so you don't involve your traps too much. And 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So the common mistakes I normally see with this one, like most exercises, is using too much weight. Using too much weight, then this ends up happening. We're going to end up using momentum, using our lower back, using muscles that we're not supposed to use. Then the other thing is, when you do this variation, guys, you want to make sure, and even with the cable actually, now that I think about it, you want to make sure that your arm is slightly bent, always slightly bent. Not super straight, just slightly bent. I see sometimes people when they do these, so little tension on the delts here. Whereas if you lengthen that lever arm, you can obviously do less weight like this than you can like this. So maybe it's also a weight thing and an ego thing, I don't know. But yeah, let's keep it simple. 3, 2, 1. Deep breath, chest up. 3, 2, 1. So again, not there to the side of me, a little bit further. Okay, when we're doing the cables, we can obviously manipulate where the force is coming from, and we can also have more constant tension when we're doing the movement. With these, where if we're doing the dumbbell version, the hardest part of the movement is up there, which is not necessarily the best for hypertrophy because you want to make sure the stretch position of the delt, which is like there, there's a lot of tension in. We can do that with the cables, whereas with the dumbbells, we're kind of stuck with, the tension being up there in the contracted position, which is not awful. It's not a bad place to start because these do tend to be a little bit harder if you've never done lateral raises before. So if I'm starting someone out in the gym, I do start with like dumbbell variation, and then as they graduate, then we might start to do something like a cable. So with these, very similar concept. Feet nice and shoulder width, or shoulder width. I don't know why I always say nice. Feet shoulder width apart, chest nice and high, core nice and tight, and then up we go. So my arms are still very slightly bent. They're not super straight. And then up we go again. So you almost want to come right about there. And try not to rest them at the bottom. We'll come back up again. 3, 2, 1. Another 2 things I want you guys to be careful with this one is, once it starts getting really hard, you're going to notice you're going to want to swing. Try not to do that. Make sure your core is nice and tight. Keep your chest up because, again, as you start to fatigue and it starts getting really hard, you're going to notice your traps wanting to start getting involved in the movement. So that's just another thing you want to be wary of. Just the one last thing. When you're doing this and performing this exercise, the one last thing I want you guys to be wary of is when you're performing it and you're going up there, just be careful when you're starting to fatigue that the arm doesn't switch and start to do this. I see this very often as people start to fatigue. You still want that palm facing down. Don't let it do that, because obviously it gets easier when you do that, but also the emphasis shifts on which part of the delt is working the most. Whereas when it's facing down, you can actually feel the difference, and it's more the side delt, more than anything else. Right, that wraps up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, if you have any questions about what movements to do, how to do the movements, make sure you put them down in the comment section. Thank you for watching, as always, and I will see you in the next one.